Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the best level 6 spells in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. Some of these spells are very good and some of them are actually the worst spells in the game. I'll be breaking out all of that in this video, first starting off with Arcane Lock. Now this is one that I wouldn't always recommend. There's actually one really good use for it and that's about it. So Arcane Gate creates 2 linked teleportation areas. This doesn't work like it does in D&D, because in D&D it actually allows you to set it 500 feet away, which isn't really feasible in a video game. Be careful though, because you can actually drop the same portal in the spot, because it doesn't actually have a really good confirm there. You just click it and you can see there, you can actually, this happens an extreme amount of times where you actually just create the Arcane Gate and it pulls you into the exact same location. It'll actually pull your entire team with you though, which is nice. The one area that this is useful is in the Iron Throne. What's good about this is if there's a way where you need to get somewhere and the portals will actually allow you to teleport there, what the game will do is it'll auto pathfind and use the portals naturally. So things like the Gondonians, which you can use, they can just run right through this and it'll get to their area. We'll do this again because again, this game, this spell in particular is so easy to drop it down because there's no like confirmation there. You just press it like that. Now, if you need to get somewhere, it'll actually, you can see there, I need to make my way over here. You'll automatically use the portals, which I think is really cool. So like, I want to go over this way. It's actually quicker to use the portals, so your character will automatically pathfind and use them. The only downside to this is it is really easy to mess up, and for a level 6 spell slot, it's not that good. Iron Throne is really the one usage for this that it would actually be useful, so I'd actually say that this spell is possibly a C to D tier. One use in the game will put it into the C tier. I wouldn't recommend it really anywhere else. I guess you can use it in like the Raphael fight if you need to get to a certain area, and there are some other probably instances where you could make use of this. I think it's cool how it does the pathfinding, but overall, it's possibly, it's not the worst level 6 spell slot, but it's just not a good one. Now we have our next spell, which is Chain Lightning. This does a 10d8 of lightning. You hit one target, it changes to 3 other targets. So that's 4 targets that are taking a potential 80 damage, but lightning damage can be doubled with Create Water. This makes it 160 damage. To further increase this, you can multi-class the Tempest Domain Cleric. At level 2, they get the ability to max roll lightning damage. So if you take 6, let's say 6 levels of the Tempest Domain Cleric, 6 levels of the Wizard, and learn Chain Lightning, you create water with your Cleric spell. That's 160 damage guaranteed, plus all the bonuses. You can actually hit for 168 damage on 4 targets, guaranteed if the damage lands, or if the attack lands, because you're going to be able to get that maximum damage with their Channel Divinity. This is a crazy powerful spell. It has a decent, like, you can hit for a decent amount of damage even without the water set up. Like, that was only 22 damage. Not insane, but if you're using this, you're going to want to set up with water ahead of time. Chain Lightning, I don't have to give it any more explanation. Everyone knows Chain Lightning is S tier because it's just the best damage spell in the game. I prefer another option that's on this list, but we'll get to that in a moment. Next, we have Circle of Death. Now, this does an 8d6 necrotic, so it's not as high damage. Necrotic is the second most resisted damage type in this game, too, so not a great damage type. However, there is one item in the game that'll actually allow you to cast this spell as much as you want. So if you have the Staff of Cherished Necromancy here, this has the ability to do life essence harvest here, which when you kill a target with a spell, you greedily absorb its life essence and gain it until the next long rest. This means you can cast a necromancy spell. So once you have this, you're just going to be able to cast the spell, Circle of Death, for free. And the nice thing about this is it keeps refreshing, so you can continually keep taking targets out and get free Circles of Death. Where the necrotic damage is not that great, it can actually be countered. I posted a build recently of taking 6 levels of the Death Domain Cleric, which gets the Inescapable Destruction, so that their necrotic damage ignores resistances. On top of that, taking the Necromancer Wizard allows you to take 3 times the spell's level back as healing when you take out a target using this spell. So level 6 spell times 3, that's 18 health. If you take out a target with this, you get a free cast of it again. You get the 18 health back, which is crazy for survivability. It ignores resistances. That build is a lot of fun if you want to utilize necrotic damage. And on top of that, it can also get Spirit Guardians, so it's very crazy. On top of all of this, it also comes with the Heightened Necromancy there. You see that ability. Creatures have disadvantage on the saving throws against your necromancy spells. So you're very likely to land this. It does respectable damage in a huge area of effect. As you can see here, if we were to cast this on someone, that's a big 9-meter radius that it's going to explode in, and it hits everyone within that radius. It'll hit your teammates too, so that's something you got to keep in mind. But if you have rings like the Coruscation ring, that's going to apply radiating orbs for 2 turns on every single target that you hit with that. So it's great for applying statuses on top of all of that. It's pretty strong, honestly, if you pair it well. Otherwise, this is a spell that I would say is probably B tier. But due to the staff existing in the game and the Death Domain Cleric coming with patch 8, I actually think that it puts the Circle of Death up to being a respectable use of your level 6 spell because you can continuously keep casting it. Normally, I would put this in the B to C tier, as I don't think it's that good, but you need to consider the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, which if you take Necromancer Wizard and the Death Domain Cleric level split of 6/6, you can recover 18 health, cast it repeatedly, and targets have disadvantage on their saving throw against it. That makes it pretty good in my books. I know some people are going to argue with that, but I think it's pretty good, all things considered. Next up is the Create Undead spell. Now, this is one of the few spells in the game that you can actually get from an item. There's the Crypt Lord Ring, which allows you to summon this in. So the Create Undead spell allows you to raise a Heinous Mummy here, which has 93 health points, an armor class of 18, its strength is set to 16, 14 dexterity, 15 constitution, so decent stats. It has the Dreadful Glare ability, which can frighten a target whenever you attack them with it. It has a multi-attack if you have a frightened target, which does a 2d6 bludgeoning and 3d6 of necrotic damage multiple times. So you want to frighten the targets and then get them to attack with this. And then it also has the Rotten Fist, which can apply Mummy Rot. And Mummy Rot reduces their health by 8 points and makes it so they can't receive healing for a turn. So it's really good, honestly, just because of the ability to give yourself a summon. Summons in Baldur's Gate 3 are really powerful due to the action economy. And as mentioned, there's the Crypt Lord Ring, so you can get it for free as well from an item. I actually do think that this is a pretty useful spell because summons are strong. 93 extra health, that's 93 health that your team's not going to get hit with. So again, coming down to the action economy, if you have other ways to frighten the targets, let's say you got a Dread, or if you got a Warlock Raid Old One that can apply Frightened on a critical hit, you can then set that up with this and get a lot of extra damage in. But overall, it's a good one because of the extra ability to take hits for your team. I think that this is a pretty useful spell in all things considered. We're going to put this in the A tier as well. This is kind of funny Necromancer spells. This one used to suck. This one was always decent as a summon. So yeah. And I guess if we're talking about other summons, the Myrmidon Create Elementals are also kind of an S tier choice. Those are better than this one here, but that's not really, it's a level 5 spell. And next we got Disintegrate. This does 10d6 plus 40 force damage. If the target fails its dexterity saving throw and the 50 to 100 force damage reduces it to 0, it reduces it to a crumbly ash. Now, a lot of elemental damage types will actually turn the target into ash, like Circle of Death will. It's an okay spell, like it does a lot of damage, but you're oftentimes, yeah, 83. We got a one shot on Halson. I'm sorry, Halson. There are instances where it's a decent spell, but at the end of the day, I think you're better off using Chain Lightning if you're going to use a max roll damage option, because you can actually do a lot more with the 10d8 lightning that chains to multiple targets. If you're going for a pure one shot, this is okay, but I actually think that there's better spells here. Force damage, least resisted damage type in the game. So that's nice, but I just think that Disintegrate is like kind of a mid spell. It doesn't have the, like some people may disagree, the Circle of Death being above it, but again, Circle of Death can be endlessly cast and it gives you health back if you're a Necromancer Wizard. This isn't really beneficial for any type of build. It's just a decently powerful spell that has better options out there. And next we got Eyebite. Your eyes become black corridors walled with teeth. Your K is capable of inflicting dread, sickness, or putting creatures to sleep. This is a pretty decent spell, and Flesh to Stone as well. I guess we'll go with those two. What's nice about Eyebite is it also benefits from using the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, so they'll have disadvantage on the saving throw. We got the Eyebite Asleep, which will put a creature asleep for 10 turns as long as you hold the concentration. Panic will put fear in the target's heart, and then the Sickened, which will give disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Now, Panic will actually do the same thing here, giving the target disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, but it also makes the target run, but they also get a saving throw against it, so that's something that's nice. Whereas Sleep, you just put them to sleep for good. Some are immune to sleep, like elves. The Sleep is pretty useful because, yeah, funny animation, but it just knocks them out. If you leave them alone, they're just going to be sleeping for the 10 turns. So as long as you hold the concentration and nobody attacks them, it's good for taking out targets like that, but when it comes down to the action economy, for a level 6 spell slot, you'd expect a little bit more out of it. I think Eyebite's okay in certain instances. The nice thing too is you can always recast it as well. So if you want to apply the Panic or to Sleep, you can continually keep casting it. And another nice benefit is Will is fearful there, so he ran away. But this is a Necromancy spell, so you can also use the Staff of Cherished Necromancy on it. It's just, conditions are good in Baldur's Gate 3, but the absolute best condition is the dead condition. So things like Chain Lightning are just much better. It can get pretty crazy if you're using the staff and the disadvantages on it. It can make things like Raphael just run away for the whole time. So you can cast this, the Panicked on them, and he saved on it, unfortunately, but then we can go ahead with casting another one on him. We landed the saving throw, so then we can go ahead with casting this on another target, and then we can go ahead with casting this on another target. So it does have some fun uses, even more so if you're hasted. But if you're going to land this spell, hold monster, hold person, my opinion might be a little bit better because the free critical hits off on it. It is kind of funny being able to put things that normally can't be put to sleep asleep with this, like Undead. It's just, I feel like there is some better uses of higher upcasted spells, but it is fun, especially if you have haste, being able to continually keep fearing targets and making them run around until they succeed the saving throw. It is pretty funny, so it does have that going for it. And yeah, overall, I do think in certain instances it can be good, but I personally prefer going with something like if I'm going to use a controlled spell like this, I'd rather hold person, hold monster, or command. But yeah, it's pretty solid. I might even say A tier. It's actually, in certain fights like Raphael, can be pretty nuts. Flesh to Stone is pretty funny because it requires the target to fail 3 saving throws, which is a lot to ask. But the thing is, this actually can be cast outside of combat, and it won't actually aggro the target, believe it or not. So save failed, he's turning into stone there. You can help out targets if they got it. They continually keep turning into stone. And then on the 3rd save, they become stone if they don't save on it. He tried to pull his book out. He ended up saving on it, unfortunately. So yeah, that's something that happens. Yeah, I keep trying to get the save off on Will, and he's not even like spec'd up very well, and he's succeeding on it. It's tough. If you can get this off outside of combat, it's actually pretty nice because you can restrain them, turning them into stone, and then hit them with something like Disintegrate to do pretty good damage. Its biggest opportunity is being able to cast this outside of combat, but I do think for level 6 spell slot, if you're going to use something like this, you're almost better again going Eyebite or inflicting the dead condition with Chain Lightning. So yeah, it's an okay spell. It's not I wouldn't say it's the worst spell in the game. I'm just going to put it into the C to B tier. Being able to be cast outside of combat, similar to Contagion, which can be cast outside of combat, is nice, but it's one of those spells that's a little bit better in D&D. Next up, we got one of the most beloved spells in the game with Globe of Invulnerability. Now, this is great because if you, let's say, take a multi-class and take one level of the wizard, you can learn this from a scroll, and this doesn't require you to have intelligence, because when you cast it, targets inside it become immune to all damage sources. And arguably, a sorcerer that takes a level dip of the wizard and learns this from it can actually get better benefit out of taking this, because with the Globe of Invulnerability, you're going to create this safety pocket here where everyone is safe. And a sorcerer is going to have a better time holding concentrations than a wizard. This is cool. You want to stand on the outer edges of it, though, otherwise the enemies will run into it, and that's something that you got to keep in mind with this spell. But it's a barrier, immunity to all damage. This is literally one of the best spells in the game because it makes a lot of fights in this game just not hard at all. You're immune to damage inside this bubble. As long as you have that concentration up, you're golden. I could talk about this spell all day. It's another S tier choice just because of how useful being immune to all damage is. And next we have my favorite spell in the game with Otiluke's Freezing Sphere. Create a ball of churning ice to be launched instantly to create a frosty explosion or stored for later use. This does 10d6 of cold damage, so it's not as high as things like Chain Lightning, which does 10d8. It's more than they circle that to an 8d6 because it's the 10d6. But the big thing about this is, I would recommend always just using don't use a conveniently portable Freezing Sphere, use the Freezing Sphere. Huge area of effect, that 9 meter circle, but it creates a surface. That's where it brings its most effective use. So, boom, you can pop this down. It creates a big ice surface here, which, yeah, everyone's slipping and falling on. So it does the damage, it does the crowd control. You can hit more targets if everyone's all grouped up together. This is a spell, this is like Fireball on, yeah, it's just a lot bigger. It can hit more targets than Chain Lightning, so you can actually do more damage with this. It's also benefited if you have Create Water set up, because that'll double the cold damage. On top of that, it makes the surfaces, which is the big nice thing about it, because you can see there, if there's spellcasters, it breaks their concentrations. If there's melee attackers, they have to wade their way through this ice and risk slipping. And if a target slips and falls on ice, it immediately ends their turn. That's why it's so good. As I mentioned, the action economy favors anything that's going to boost up your actions or take away the enemy's actions. So Otiluke's Freezing Sphere, it's crazy. I actually do think it's a little bit better than Chain Lightning in some instances. I still think this damaging option is better for burst damage because Chain Lightning can be max rolled for damage, whereas you can't use a Channel Divinity to max roll Otiluke's Freezing Sphere. But at the end of the day, this is high damage in a huge area of effect and crowd control, making it one of the most powerful spells in the game. I honestly think, yeah, I think Globe of Invulnerability might be a little bit better than Otiluke's Freezing Sphere. but we're going to roll with something like that. I know most people prefer Chain Lightning. I think Otiluke's Freezing Sphere with the ability to hit even more targets. Like you can hit like 10, 20 targets with this if you get lucky and they're all in that circle, but it also makes the surfaces that are just a pain to deal with. Lightning can make the lightning surfaces, but it's not going to end the enemy's turns. So this is an offensive, defensive, kind of everything all in one. And next we got Otto's Irresistible Dance. Now, unfortunately, this is Otto's Resistible Dance now. Previously, before patch 4, it used to be the target didn't have ability to save on this. You get advantage on attack rolls against the target, which is really nice. But the thing is here, the only advantage you have over using this over something like Hold Person or Hold Monster is they lose 1 turn guaranteed with Otto's Irresistible Dance. If you use Hold Person, they can save the first save and not get affected by it. But Otto's Irresistible Dance, they have to be affected by it for 1 turn. So yeah, he's weirdly enough just took a swig there, but yeah, 10 turns, they can resist it. It's a wisdom save, so some targets will resist it. Previously, when the target used to not be able to save on it, this was one of the best spells in the game, but it got fixed and now it's not really as useful. So I actually may say Otto's Irresistible Dance it's okay. I feel like Hold Person and Hold Monster is just a better choice, but we'll throw it somewhere around the B tier because it's not terrible, I guess. And next we got Sunbeam doing a 68 radiant damage. Beam of brilliant light that sears and blinds all creatures in its path. 10 turns. It's a concentration because you blast away with the Sunbeam like this. Big blast there, blinding targets. And then you can keep casting recast Sunbeam here, so you can keep doing it. Whenever you have this spell up, you're going to want to continually keep casting this because it can potentially blind targets. And that's just super useful. Being able to cast a 68 radiant damage multiple times per turn is nice. But the big thing here is it's great for applying Radiating Orb. So if you go in on a Radiant Orb build, this works well. There is, however, one glitch with this. So whenever you cast it and you get the recast, let's say you multi-class, you got the Sunbeam. It's not going to be often that this happens, but if you, let's say, added in the Druid afterwards and you're a wizard, the recast will use your wisdom stat. The main one would use your intelligence if you learn it from the wizard. So it's kind of weird in that respect that the recast will use your most recently acquired spellcasting ability modifier, but it's just the way that these things work in the game. So Sunbeam's all right. I would say this is it's probably the top of the B tier. Great for Radiating Orbs. Druids can learn it. It's not bad for Druids. Best for Radiating Orb builds. It can blind targets. You can keep recasting it. If you're going to use this, stick to one class or make sure that the class that you're taking use the same ability score modifier. So yeah, otherwise it's an alright spell. I just think there's better. Next up is Wall of Ice. This actually got corrected with patch 8, which is nice to see. So raise a wall of solid ice that deals a 10 to 6 cold damage to anyone that stands in this way. So it's a weird one. So you create this Wall of Ice. It's going to deal damage to the targets. Boom. That didn't appear for whatever reason. Try that again. So cast the Wall of Ice there. It'll create a Wall of Ice, and then the Wall of Ice will actually break, and when it breaks, it'll deal cold damage in its aura. Now, previously, it used to not do that. They updated in patch 8 to do it properly, so the ice pillars there, when you break them, they have this icy aura that you can see there, which will cause you to take damage, and it used to not do the correct amount of damage, but this was corrected within patch 8. As much as I love this spell, it's not going to be the absolute best choice in the game. It's a 10d6 cold and then continually can be more cold damage. It says it lasts for 60 turns. If you can hold a concentration on Wall of Ice, is pretty nice. It's kind of funny to set up the wall too, and it can be used in some interesting ways. I don't think it's S tier though, like some of the other spells that we have here. So I'm just going to put this one at the top of the A tier. It's a good one. It's fun. It can be doubled in damage. It creates a icy surface here, as you can see. But I do believe that there's better options in the game. Next is Harm, which is one of the weirdest spells in the game. If the target fails the saving throw, it reduces their health points by 14d6, which doesn't actually harm them for necrotic damage. It just reduces their maximum health points. If they succeed on the saving throw, they take half damage, and it actually will damage them. It doesn't reduce their max hit points. So this is oddly enough a spell where you want it to sometimes succeed the saving throw, where they take the half damage instead. It's a weird one. What's also funny, let's say you have a target that has 200 health, you've already removed 100 health from it, and you use the Harm spell, and it gets a maximum roll, so it reduces their health by 84 health. They have 100 out of 200, it just brings their health down, they stay at 100 health. It's not that great. I actually think that this is a spell that we could potentially just put into the D tier. Not many uses where this is a good option, and there's much better. If you're a cleric here, you got things like Blade Barrier or even Hero's Feast, which gives your team health. Much better of an option. Next is heal. This is a cool one. So this will heal a target's wounds and remove blindness and any diseases. Now, another cool thing, I would recommend everyone just takes this because clerics can learn spells from any time. Take this spell and cast it on the Dark Urge. You'll actually get some pretty cool, unique scenes as this helps them recover their memories. A flat 70 healing is pretty nice, but again, healing is something you want to do after the fact. Due to the action economy in Baldur's Gate 3, it's probably better for you to damage the target versus keeping them alive. But it's okay. I actually think this is one that we could probably put, I might say this, and then Otto's Irresistible dance down a little bit. Heal is okay, 70 health. It's a flat out 70 health. It could be a game winner at times. I do think if you have the option, it's probably better to take a single level dip in the wizard if you're a cleric and take Globe of Invulnerability. You're going to get much better mileage out of that spell versus heal. It does have its uses though, I guess. Some people like healing, so that is good. But it's not as good as Planar Ally. Now, this is a very useful spell. You get the option between a Genie, a Diva, and a Cambion. The Cambion's okay. It's probably the worst of them. The Diva gives you the Revivify spell, Concussive Smash, and Wrathful Smite. It also has a very powerful weapon, so you summon it in. 136 health. It comes flying down. Its mace does a 1d6 plus 4 bludgeoning, and then a plus 4d8 radiant. So it can hit really hard with that mace. It also has the Wrathful Smite there, which it just uses its action, and then it also has like Revivify, main hand attack, Concussive Smash, and it can fly around. So it's good. It can revive your team. But I think that the absolute best choice is actually to go with the Genie instead. Reason being, the Genie, it doesn't have the same raw damage output. It has more health though. It has 161 health, and it comes with Thunderwave at level 4. It also has the Misty Step, so it can use Shifting Winds. Where this is really good, if there's a place where you can actually knock someone off of a ledge, you can have the Genie do its little Misty Step dance, flip its way in there, appear, cool animation, and then use Thunderwave to push someone off of a ledge. Thunderwave just being such a good spell. Yeah, it's big pushback, 5d8 of thunder damage. It does have also a melee attack, which does a 2d10 poison damage. Not as good as I mentioned as the Diva's weapon there. You also have the Drunken Inhale, compel foes towards you with an intoxicating wind that makes them drunk. So this hits in a pretty large area of effect, and it applies the 48 poison and makes them drunk. When a target's drunk, they have disadvantage on dexterity saves. So if they're walking on ice, they're more likely to slip, more likely to get hit by fireball and things like that. It also has the Sweet Plum Gales here, which restrains foes within, which is pretty nice too. So you can drop this down and group it or keep enemies in that location. The Genie, I think, is one of the most underrated things in this game. Thunderwave being able to knock people off of a ledge is crazy, and you can do this every single turn. So yeah, make it teleport around, line it up for a Thunderwave. If you have things like Hunger of Hadar, you can use this to push them into the Hunger of Hadar. There's a lot of synergies with the Genie, and I think it's actually one of the best ones. And I think Planar Ally is, honestly, I might just put it right there. Global Invulnerability will probably win you more battles, but a Planar Ally, especially because if you have a free casting staff, like if you have the Staff of Spell Power or the Marka Heshker staff, you can go with the Arcane Battery, get a free Planar Ally, and then swap to the other staff. So in limited, it's pretty useful in that regard. So yeah, I'd have to say that the Planar Ally is really, really good. Same thing with taking Hero's Feast. You can use that staff to get a free Hero's Feast. You and everyone around can't be poisoned, diseased, or frightened. Your health points increases, and you make wisdom saves with advantage. This is huge because wisdom saves are things like Hold Person, Command, some of the worst spells to get hit with. So you can buff up the team. That gives them the Thoroughly Stuffed. It'll boost up their overall health points. It also gives you pizza. You heard that right. Oh, we didn't get pizza that time. Sometimes it gives you pizza. There we go. We summoned it again. Pizza in Baldur's Gate 3. Crazy. Now, there's actually a really useful ability here. It makes it so you can't be poisoned, diseased, or frightened. The poison condition actually applies really well to a specific spell, Cloud Kill, which Cloud Kill normally makes it so that you take damage when you're in it. Oddly enough, this makes it so that Cloud Kill doesn't damage you. So that is actually pretty worthwhile if you have a team like a Necromancer that has Cloud Kill up, its zombies can't get hit with it, and then your whole team can't get hit with it. Hero's Feast will also apply to your summons there, so you saw our Genie got a little bit extra health there too. This can also stack with Aid, so if you have multiple staves that give you extra healing, you can take Aid, you can take Hero's Feast, and that's going to buff up your entire team to its maximum amount of health points. Hero's Feast is really good. I'd actually say this is probably somewhere around there. Just because you get more health, you are immune to poison. There's just a lot of benefits there. Next is Blade Barrier, kind of like Wall of Ice, but it does a 60, 10 of slashing damage, worst damage type in the game. Summon a wall, reaches sharp blades, it turns the area into difficult terrain. So that is, it's cool in itself. You can create this blade barrier here. It's wherever you're going to place it down the ground, it's kind of like the wall of fire in that regard. So there's some places where it's going to block. It's okay overall. Yeah, there we go. We got it cast. It creates difficult terrain. It does damage. I love the little space kind of appearance that it has there. It's all right at best. As far as level 6 spells go, I think that there's better options. So yeah, blade barrier, I'm going to say probably B tier, blade barrier tier. Yeah, it's just a fair option overall. In a similar vein, the Druid Wall of Thorns spell here, kind of like blade barrier, but it does a 78 of piercing, so better damage type because the Ballless armor can double it and Orin's dagger can double it, and you're going to have level 6 spell slots in Act 3, so it kind of works out. It also creates Entangling Vines. It has a larger area of effect too, so that's something to keep in mind. It may not work inside of some buildings, so you have to be conscious of that, but it's going to be able to lock down an area pretty well, so that is nice. So here we go, we got it now set up, so you can create this. It creates a entangling vine area, twisting vines around it, and then it has that there, the Wall of Thorns. The enemy AI will avoid this like the plague, so they don't oftentimes get hit by it, and they'll usually jump past it, so it's okay. It lasts for 60 turns though, so it actually can last a very long time, which is nice. I just feel like it's not super useful, same as Blade Barrier. They create difficult terrain, but the enemies always avoid these things, so yeah, I might just say this is a little bit better in the B tier, just not... They actually could go both down to C tier. I feel like the enemies don't go anywhere near this. We'll bounce it around the B tier though. We maybe niche uses can be decent, so we'll leave it right there. And finally, we actually got the worst cantrip, or we got the worst spell in the game now with Windwalk. Transform yourself and all nearby party members into a tiny clouds of mist to avoid attacks. So it's basically like Misty form for your entire team. Yeah, I don't really know where this is actually any use. Gaseous form, resistant to all non-magical damage, advantage on Constitution, Dexterity, and Strength saving throws, and is tiny in size. Yeah, I think that this is actually the worst spell in the game. It doesn't really have much benefit here, unfortunately. It's, yeah, not really that good. Yeah, it doesn't require concentration at least, but out of all the spells in this game, Arcane Gate does everything a little bit better. This is easily the worst level 6 spell slot in Baldur's Gate 3. So, there you have it. That is the list of level 6 spells ranked on a tier list in Baldur's Gate 3. My recap: Global Invulnerability, super useful spell, being able to take no damage, extremely effective, makes some fights very easy. Planar Ally, the Genie, being able to push enemies off of ledges. It also has a lot of mobility, and it tanks hits for your team with 161 before it even buff off its health. Otiluke's Freezing Sphere, my favorite damage spell because it creates crowd control with the difficult terrain, and it also hits more targets if they are all grouped together than Chain Lightning, which is a lot of people's favorite spell in the game, and I use Chain Lightning probably the most out of all these spells, but I appreciate a good Otiluke's Freezing Sphere, which unfortunately isn't in the Sorcerer spell list. Wall of Ice, it was fixed in patch 8, now it's pretty good. Circle of Death, also really good with the Death Domain Cleric and the Necromancer Wizard to get 18 health back and cast it an infinite amount of times. And everything else is covered in the video. Let me know, though, your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you all in the next video.